जयपुर वाया कोटा
कृपया ध्यान आपो अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
Lucknow Junction.
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವರೈ
Hyderabad Superfast Express পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন कृपया ध्यान दियो
Hello and welcome to Cricbuzz Live. And you know, I started my IPL career in 2008 when I was working with the Kolkata Knight Riders, and I was there for that start of that incredible journey that was the IPL. So I really enjoy being at the start of journeys. And today we have a very, very interesting journey, a journey of somebody who's been with us on other formats, but is here for the first time on Cricbuzz Live as an anchor, presenting the one and only Saiyami Kher.
Thank you, Joy sir. Thank you.
Well done. Welcome.
Welcome, Saiyami.
It was such a nice, powerful introduction, and I think you should take it away. But because I'm so nervous, because this almost feels like a childhood dream. You know, I've grown up watching and admiring everyone who we hang out with, and then suddenly I'm on this chair, so it just feels really surreal to be here. But I'm very excited, and Lisa, I have a debut connection with you as well, because I debut today. You've given me my Cricbuzz, well, not cap, but cup.
Yeah, the mug.
Yes, the mug, the Cricbuzz mug.
I mean, it's cricket. It's all about ensuring.
You could have bought something a bit more expensive.
Sorry, I mean, it was last minute. Where were you? You at least knew a little bit more
Producer
about
budgets.
this.
I mean, cup.
I know.
Saiyami Kher.
Well, and then we thought about the cap, but we don't want to mess that hair, do we now?
I wouldn't.
No, so
I wouldn't.
my connection with you is it was my birthday when you debuted for Australia, not the year, but the date on the 29th of June. So I think that's my connection with you. So I
Okay.
think I'm going to take a few tips from you on how to handle the pressure today.
Sure, no worries. Just pretend there's no one else here, and we're just all having a
Exactly.
chat. A bit of a
Okay.
chin wag, as we say in Australia.
Everything else is a hologram.
Good one. Okay, so I'm going to try and do that, but you know, quickly to just recap on all that's happened last week, because it's just day 5 of the IPL. So much has already happened. So we'll quickly have a look at the points table, because as a MI and KKR fan, Joy sir, we don't want to remember this week at all. But we can see here that Rajasthan heads the points table with that huge win that they had. They are at 2 points, everyone at 2 points each, but then there's Calcutta, Mumbai, Delhi and Hyderabad who still to get off the mark.
So anyway, Mumbai, you needn't bother,
Yes.
because since 2014, you know, you've won 4 titles, but you've never managed to win your opening match. The sun rises later in this part of the world, so that I think you can not worry about that much. Kolkata, to call myself a supporter would be a bit difficult now, but it's a bit disheartening being a Kolkata supporter at this point in time. But really interesting how this has turned out, because nowadays that thing used to be, even 5-6 years back, there was a situation where you look at IPL teams and say, those two are just not good enough talent-wise. Now it's very difficult. Perhaps I'd say 9 out of these 10 teams have the talent to win it. So it's a matter of combination, luck, circumstances, injuries. Those are things that are going to decide it, and chemistry, and people like Dhoni with that little pixie dust that he puts on his team.
It's probably still a little bit too early to kind of start to see the gap widening between probably another 2 or 3 rounds, and you'll start to see, okay, these are the front runners, these are the players in form, this is the combination that is working really well for that side. So at the moment it's still open, but you don't want to be those 4 teams without points. You want to get your points early in the competition.
You know, for me as an Indian fan to watch Virat and see, in spite of being an MI fan, to see what Virat did the other day, to see what Ruturaj Gaikwad has been doing, and to see what Shubman Gill has been doing, I've been smiling from year to year. Your probably highlight moments from the last 5 days?
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of conversations around Virat and what he's been able, or we're wanting to see the best of his form. You know, the World Cup coming up, he's going to be an important cog in the Indian wheel. IPL is all about the heroes, the stars, and he is one of the big ones. So that performance with the bat in hand at Chinnaswamy was really special. And the other thing for me that I've loved so far about this edition of IPL is heading around to all of the grounds again. So the fans get to go out and cheer on their side, and they've all come out in droves and they've absolutely loved it.
Joy, sir, coming to today's game, Delhi takes on Gujarat. Well, Delhi is not so confident right now. Gujarat is coming in with a lot of confidence. But this is Delhi's homecoming game. One person they're going to really, really miss is Rishabh Pant.
Yeah, I think they've done a great job of it, and I think Ricky is led from the front. I was talking about this yesterday as well. Delhi has a lack of tradition, when it comes to sports, So it's one of those things that, you get it. Look at that, what they did with Rishabh. They had his jersey out there. Perhaps you might even see him in the ground today. And, what they've made sure is that there is a tradition. We don't forget our heroes. And that's something Indian sport hasn't had. We've not managed to build good legacies. And I think that's one thing that DC has started doing. Ponting, you have to give him credit, he's led it. And I think that's what they do. They'll build and try and play around him. Rajasthan last year, if you remember, so much of their campaign was about doing it for Warney.
Yes.
And they reached the finals. So I think sometimes when you have things that bind a team together, the team plays totally differently. And somewhere if they can channel that, because that common energy coming together and saying, let's do it for this guy, it makes a difference. I mean, I know almost all these players of 2011, we talk about your favorite Sachin, and it was all about doing it for Sachin. He deserves
like Virat and Yuvraj both went and said, we'll do it for Sachin.
Absolutely.
So, Lisa, you think it's going to be this year where, Delhi comes together and says, let's do it for Rishabh?
Look, I think, I don't know if it will. There's still question marks around their squad and how their combination and if they're going to play well with David Warner at the top. But one thing is, by having something external, it just takes you away from runs and wickets, and that's all that matters. It really does start to mean a little bit more, that there's more to the game than just your performance on the field. It's that collective, the emotions that are with it, and that's a culture. And Joy, you were talking about Ricky Ponting, and he's been able to create, when he was playing with the Australian team, a wonderful team culture that understood their roles, understood the importance of what they needed to do on the field for the Australian public. Same thing can be said for Delhi as well. So time will tell if that does bind them together and they're able to get some performances on the board.
I really hope that we get to see Rishabh come in and sit in the dugout, because that's going to do, just a whole lot for Delhi. But talking about Delhi and Warner, the captain, because David Warner has been very impressive in the power play. He's had around 6 odd 50s in the power play. So just David Warner, the captain, the pressure that David Warner has.
I think that's they'd had a good season last year together, him and Prithvi, and it was unfortunate, a few results, rains, things happened, COVID, a lot of things happened. They should have been in the semi-final last year. They should have been in the top 4. But if you look at, David Warner knows he has the team and the capacity to do it. They have 2 excellent spinners. They have very good fast bowlers. Now that their fast bowlers have come, they've got Mish Marsh, they've got himself, they've got Prithvi Shaw, very destructive up front. They have the pieces. And Warner also knows, I think, what Lisa says about good players always know when their time is running out. He doesn't have much more time, maybe 3-4 years to go, or maybe 2-3 years to go. So he wants to make the best of it. This is one of his best chances. Yes, Rishabh would have been easier with Rishabh there. But now he's not just got his role, but he's got the role of captaincy as well. He will want to make the most of it. He's not had the greatest record coming in, Lisa, though.
No, he hasn't. He struggled in the Australian summer. Sydney Thunder, he played in the Big Bash. Didn't score runs. And I actually put it back down to the fact that he had written a submission to Cricket Australia wanting to lift the ban on his captaincy. So he had lifetime ban. So didn't want to go back to the occurrence of the sandpaper gate. He wanted to move on. He said, I've done my time. Surely now I can be rewarded by potentially, if a side would like me in Australia, to captain. Unfortunately, Cricket Australia decided to send it to an independent person, and he didn't want to go through that process. So I think he was bitterly disappointed with that. I mean, he's publicly said it as well. And I think that has emotionally affected him, and it's affected his performance. And now, even in the Australian Test side, they're talking about potentially him not even going to the Ashes. He may not open. I mean, we can see that he's slotted down in the ODIs, so he hasn't got a lot of time left. So this is a huge opportunity for him in this IPL to kind of stake claim again and say, hey, I'm only, 60 odd runs away from being the 3rd player to score 6,000 runs in the IPL. Hey, pick me again. I'm still your guy that you want.
Yeah, most 50 plus runs in the power play as well, and I hope it's not an end of an era because David Warner is destructive. He's been a little on the back foot, so I'm hoping to see the OG David Warner come into action.
Yeah, absolutely. And there aren't that many of them. If you look at the IPL, there was Chris Gayle to start with. There's been Suresh Raina, Chris Gayle, to a certain extent Shikhar Dhawan, monster scorers. And then last 5-6 years, it's been KL Rahul and David Warner. They are the OGs. They are absolutely 600-run seasons. You can write down a 600-run season for them. And he still has that capacity. And in some way, I think Prithvi playing with him suits him. Because Prithvi is such an attacking batsman up front that he doesn't need to take the risks. If you see the David Warner today, the problem they had towards the end with him and Shikhar was neither wanted to take chances. So the pressure started, building up because neither was taking chances. Coming to Delhi, Warner is in one way liberated because Prithvi will go for it. So if Prithvi gets out, there's a bit more pressure, but David Warner can pick and choose the balls he wants to hit. And that's why Warner's greatest ability in the last year has been his consistency. He's just kept doing it. And I think in some way, with all this happening with Australia, India, maybe Delhi is his good space. He'll want to come and say, this is away from all this. I can focus just on this. I don't need to think about international cricket now. Let me do what I've done really well for many years, the IPL.
I've got an update from the centre is that Hardik Pandya has continued doing what he does, is winning, and he's won the toss. He's decided to bowl first. So we'll quickly have a look at the playing 11 because very, very unfortunate. I think there's no one in the world who does not like Kane Williamson. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Kane Williamson. Unfortunately, he had to be out. Sai Sudarshan is in and David Miller is in. No surprises there again, Joy sir?
Yeah, no surprises at all. I think David Miller was bound to walk in, and given the form that he was in, it was what was interesting is the fact that Joshua Little had a very, very difficult baptism by fire. He was greeted with a 6 and a 4 and everyone said, come now, welcome to the IPL, let me show you how it's done. But he's been given another chance, and I think that again is a very Gujarat thing. Saying that we believe in you, we're going to put faith in you, everyone can get whacked around, we'll give you a few chances. And that's a culture that has made Gujarat such a strong team. Look at David Miller's career, and Lisa and me were talking about it before that. 2014, he has a sensational season, okay? After that, he just disappears. Look at that, 16 to 21. He was 15, they made him captain. They said, oh, he's a big player. 22.59 at 118. And then just look at what's happened last year. Just look at that number. 68.71. The big thing about it, it tells you the number of not outs he's had because he's finished games for them.
And a big score as well. I think his highest score was 94 not out. And we had to kind of really go back into the archives to try and find something big from David Miller. So sometimes a new captain, and I think Hardik Pandya's got a lot he needs to be very thankful towards him because he's probably just allowed him to be as free as he likes. No real expectation, or maybe there's just some key word or some phrase or some little banter that he's had with him, and he's just been able to unlock what everyone saw a long time ago, but it just went missing.
I'll tell you one thing, it's a very interesting thing. I have a theory out here which may or may not be true, but I've been a part of teams and I think there is some amount of truth to it. One of the things that happens when you're part of an IPL team is a large part of pressure does not come just from the fans, it comes from owners. Okay, and even when they're nice, they can be very nice, but you feel that you feel the need to do things for them. I must play well because Shah Rukh wants it, or Preeti wants it, or somebody wants it, or Vijay Mallya wants it, or Neeta Bhabhi wants it. That is one thing that Gujarat didn't have at all last year. Professional companies, CVC Corporation, professionally run team. Ashish Nair is a very chilled person. That coaching staff, Vikram Solanki, the whole lot of them, Ashish Kapoor, they know each other for a very long time. So there was no pressure on the players, They played very freely. And I think if that continues, then you can see how players are, really benefiting from it. And very interestingly, David Warner then takes this form into his international career. He's playing fantastically for South Africa. Yeah. So, South Africa should be very grateful to Gujarat and CVC for the way this team is
Joyce,
playing.
you mentioned the pressure that people didn't have while playing for Gujarat. David Miller actually interestingly spoken also about how he likes to balance his work life. He likes to go fishing. He likes to do his photography, which he's done. And he said that's what kind of makes me come back with a bang. So we are expecting a lot from David Miller now. He's known to be a master at chasing. So can we expect a lot from David Miller chasing?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the fact that, you look at the stats and the average strike rate in run chases is really important. And you want your internationals, you want your senior players to step up when there is more pressure because of the scoreboard pressure as well. Then you also look at his previous innings. I know it's against Netherlands, but he got a 91. So he's coming into the IPL with some form under his belt. So he'll be ready to play. And, when you've done so well the previous year, you want to kickstart your campaign. You've already missed the first game. So you're like, hang on, boys, I want to have an impact straight away. And I think David Miller will.
Delhi, like I said, is a little low on confidence. I just hope that the mark that Mark Wood left on them has been erased. But this is Delhi's playing 11. 2 changes here. Sarfaraz plays and so does Abhishek Porel play. And then, of course, there is a Nokia who comes in. Both of them playing, both specialist wicket keepers, but both playing surprising?
No, I think Sarfaraz, they're playing him as a batsman, definitely. I think what's happened out there is that they've turned around and said they played one bowler too many last time. I think they'll substitute somebody out. One of the batsmen they'll substitute out when they're bowling. Nokia coming in is not a surprise at all because they needed that, in-form, international fast bowler. The interesting one is that everyone thought between, Ravman Powell, Riley Russo, who'll survive. And it's Russo who survived. Rovman Powell's gone out.
Well, I'm just thinking now, as based on our conversation, maybe it's the Rashid Khan effect because Rovman Powell really does struggle against him. So maybe Riley Russo is a better matchup for this game. So whether they continue to do that moving forward, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But
there's another interesting one that Vijay Shankar got one match, he's out, Sai Sudarshan's come in. So they obviously think that and Vijay Shankar
but
didn't
Vijay Shankar was quite impressive in the last game.
Exactly. So
27 odd in, I think, 18, 16.
Exactly. I think what would have happened is that they probably wanted to start with Sai Sudarshan, may have had a bit of a niggle or something and they didn't play. Because Gujarat, you're right, is a very process-based team. If they've given you a chance, they'll normally say, we've given you a chance, you'll keep playing. Or that he's particularly a good player of fast bowling and, Nokia coming in is up front. So, very interesting.
With so many playing 11s that you go in with 2 teams and so much confusion that's happening, there is a little update we have that there is Aman Khan who's in and Khalil is out. So there was a little change because there's so much confusion with so many new rules.
Is that because of the drop catch?
I was just thinking that, Sarfaraz lost his keeping for that.
Yeah.
For that catch.
That look, yeah.
Khalil lost for that catch, lost his place. But remember, they're batting now.
Yeah, so
Khalil could be subbed back because I thought Khalil as a bowler didn't look bad at all to me. I think that's
got 2 for 30, he looked all right.
Yeah, he looked all right. And Khalil, again, the number of bowlers India's gone through, some 26, 27 bowlers, fast bowlers we've gone through. Everyone, Khalil has played for India and somebody said, where is he? Is he playing for the state at all? We don't know.
But Lisa, just to talk about the bowling again, and Nokia comes in, he has gone through that injury, that groin injury that's gone in. So can we hope that he'll have 14 games in for Delhi?
I think 14 might be a stretch. I know he did well in the SA20 and was able to kind of get through, but when someone starts to have a bit of a groin, even though it's 4 overs, everyone goes, 4 overs? Well, what's the problem? In you go. But the intensity that the guys do and the amount of travel that they're going to do as well, I think that will play an effect. I think there'll be a rotation of fast bowlers with all franchises given the amount of travel and not a lot of rest period between each of the games. So it'll all be about managing. It's not... sometimes it's not how well you play, it's almost survival of the fittest by the end of the tournament, really, who's left in your playing 11. So that's going to be really hard to manage, and I think they'll manage Nokia in that same regard.
Someone said that it's turning out to be a injury Premier League more than Indian Premier League, but with Nokia, he kind of has gone and played all the SA20 games. He's looking good, he's coming in from great form. So just what is it about Nokia that is like his X factor?
Just show pace. I mean, they say, there's this great saying that they have when they talk about NBA basketball players. They say, you can't coach height. You can't say, okay, become 6 inches taller. Yeah. Similarly, for fast bowlers, a lot of it is that that natural pace that you have, you can't coach that. You can increase it by a little or not, but either you're fast or not. That's genuine quickness. That, once you cross that 145, 146 mark consistently, so we are talking about very few bowlers do that. We are talking about Nokia, we are talking about a Mark Wood, we are talking about very few bowlers in that, Lockie perhaps, in that category. And even bowlers who can bowl the occasional 145, 146 like a Shami will not do it on a consistent basis. But if you're bowling at that pace and you're bowling straight the way he does, it makes a huge difference, because it's literally you hit, you miss, I hit, you hit, I miss. That's literally like that. And again, every batsman, see, again, it's also a matchup thing. And a lot of people know that, okay, this batsman doesn't like the fast one. Like anyone in the world will now tell you, Andre Russell, keep the ball here. There's so much.
Who do you think is his matchup? Like, who do you think is going to have trouble against Nokia today?
If you look at the other side, see, this is a very competent batting side, but even somebody like a Tewatia, if he's going to try and whack the ball, getting it here at the pace of Nokia is not going to be easy. And the only thing is, this is a small ground. Delhi is a small ground. So what happens to genuine quick bowlers like Umran also, you saw the other day, edges will go for 6.
Yeah.
But you just have to accept it and say that, if he doesn't bowl that fast, you're not going to get the wickets.
Just an update again that Gujarat has won the toss and they've decided to bowl first. Talking about Prithvi Shaw, the X factor, because Prithvi Shaw is somebody who's been phenomenally talented. Everyone has expected Prithvi Shaw to come up and, hit those big knocks. There has been this comparison you all did in the preview yesterday about Prithvi Shaw and Gill. What do you think we can see from Prithvi Shaw today? Because in the last game, Wood kind of really set him up very well. He kept bowling those short ones like Joyce was talking about, that height which was troubling Prithvi Shaw, and then bowled the fuller one. So do you think he's going to come in this game with a little bit of underconfidence, or is he going to forget what's happened and come in strong?
Well, he's the type of player that just goes, you know what, I'll do what I do. And I just hope my hand-eye coordination is good enough. I mean, everyone knows that he does struggle with the short delivery, stays leg side of the ball. That's been an issue, a technical issue that he's had for a while. But I do think that this year is very important for him. If he doesn't fire, then there's real question marks. I mean, you look at his performance in Ranji Trophy, he scored over 500 runs. But one of those innings was, 379. So yes. You take that away and he's actually hasn't had as big an impact in that format. So, here's a chance where everyone is looking for him to say, guys, I'm still around as well. So, you've got two openers really in Delhi that, there's some question marks about them moving forward.
Joyce, as an actor, when you debut with someone together, you always feel like, oh, this one's got more films than me, this one's got, you always feel that. So with Prithvi and Shaw, they were both in the same team under 19, and then we've seen, we are seeing the numbers here. Gill has gone ahead of Shaw by miles, if I can say. So do you think this is something that Prithvi Shaw has at the back of his head?
Yeah, and Prithvi was his captain.
Oh, yes.
And in those days, Prithvi was considered and is still considered one of the great. See, the thing about it is, you're absolutely right. No matter what he says, and they're probably friends off the field, and it's not that but you still are a rival. You can be a friend and also be a rival. It's possible because you mirrored each other's careers, you follow each other's games, you watch out for where he's playing, how many runs he's scoring, because you're the same vintage. You're the batch of 2018. You're the batch. It's literally like a school batch. And look, Shaw, but the only thing is that Shaw's game is, a lot of players have tried to analyze it, and one of the coaches told me that the great ability that Prithvi Shaw has is he can hit good balls for 6 also, because what he has is supreme hand-eye coordination and timing, and that is God-given. Shubman Gill is far more, a constructed product. Obviously, has great timing, has great ability, but it's a far more technically correct product.
Correct.
But the brilliance that Shaw has is something totally different. So I feel somewhere it's unfair to compare them, because you can say that, yeah, Shaw can get better technically. If he tries to get better technically, somewhere he'll lose out on the kind of audacity and shots he hits. You can't control stuff like that. You can't control. He's going to exasperate you. Prithvi, you're going to look at him and say, what is he doing? But that's the reason he can get 35 runs in about 3 overs without you even looking. So you cannot call him to question. That's the way he's chosen to play the game, and I think we should be grateful that you have two such different products to choose from in India.
The only thing I was going to say is that he just misses out because because of those technical deficiencies. Yeah. People are starting to figure out how to get him out. So he's got to find other ways to adapt. just talking about, his X factor, I look at the women's game and Shafali Verma is exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
Like ugly to look at. Like sometimes you think, how are you playing
And
that
she'll
shot?
get out of this shot that you look at and say,
Correct. Why are you doing it? But then she gives you absolute gold that no one else would. So I understand that point.
yeah,
Lisa, this is just a rookie question because I've always wanted to ask cricketers this. When you say, technically he is a little not as strong as a Gill probably, but he is playing at the highest level. He went back and tried to work on his technique, which he did spend time. He went back to Praveen Amre, tried spending time there. But how difficult is it to change things around at that level, one? And two, mentally, how do you kind of just, at that level, everyone wants to be in the playing 11?
Yeah. I think the first thing is it can be done. Second thing is you have to buy into it as a player. So you can have as many people telling you, pundits like ourselves, coaches from all the different sides that he's part of, but if you don't believe that you need to change, then you won't actually do it. So I've never seen him train, I've never seen a session being done with him, so I can't comment on that. But he's also, as Joy was saying, is trying to still keep what's special about him. So like if Malinga all of a sudden came up here to bowl, how effective would he have been?
True.
Probably not so effective. So there's that, the X factor about him has to be kept. So, I mean, we've kind of probably said he's a young cricketer feeling his way through it. I think he's felt enough and he needs to now start to produce.
My one thing which, technique and all, as I said, I'm not even competent to talk about. The one thing I'd say is that he can get more fit physically. That's something he's not worked on, and the problem is that that's something that shows most obviously. You look at it and say, look, he hasn't spent enough time in his conditioning and this thing, and he needs to, because he's, 22, 23 years old. He should be much fitter than he is right now. And if you look around and look at the players around him of his generation, Shubman or Shivam Mavi, I mean, that's something that he should definitely be working on. But he's just, as I said, when he gets going, he's a player like no other in world cricket. There are very few like him.
When you said when he gets going, there's no one else like him. There's somebody who's always kept going is Rashid Khan, because Gujarat is coming into bowl. He's like this 2 a.m. friend, you want to call him up at 2 a.m. and say, bowl, pitch the ball here. He's going to come and pitch the ball there. He's just this phenomenon who just cannot be deciphered, because just look at his numbers there. He's 13 games, he's got a economy of 5.85 versus Delhi. And this very interesting trivia that Harsha gave us is that he's never played David Warner in T20 cricket ever. So that's one matchup I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, you have to kind of go back and you go, how is that not possible? And it's like, well, hang on, they played for Sunrisers at the same time, and then T20 World Cups, I think he got out before Rashid came on. So yeah, that's going to be a mouth-watering opportunity, I think, for all of us spectators to see what he's willing to do. Because Warner will know what he wants to do, bowl at the stumps, he may bowl a few wrong-ins, but will he switch hit or do anything funky? I guess we'll have to wait and see, but it's going to be exciting.
Joyce, one thing I've never understood is Rashid himself has gone and given these master classes on his variations and how he does it and his grips, and he's gone and the one with Shane Warne, which I've loved watching. But after all these master classes, why can't people pick him?
They can't. See, that's the point. And I was thinking about something else, One of the other greats in this period, if you look at spinners, is Sunil Narine, okay? But Sunil Narine, when his, except for 12, 13, that first 2 years, when his economy rate, there's 5.5, 6, he wouldn't get wickets because they'd play him out. Rashid has this amazing ability to still take wickets. You can't play Rashid out, it seems, because everyone who tries to play him out, and maybe hand speed, it may be it's extreme accuracy, but he just has that ability to give you economy rate and wickets. And that's a very rare combination. Every team says this, that okay, if you're batting first and you have a chance, play out Rashid from one end, let one batsman attacking. If he gets out, don't worry about it. But he's just amazing.
I think it's the speed of his arm. So whilst you can, and it's subtle changes. So when it's coming through really quick and he bowls 96 kilometres plus, and you're trying to watch the hand as well, it's very hard because he doesn't use his front arm at all. So there's a few things that are different to a normal leg spinner. but the speed of his arm coming through, that's why it's hard to pick.
Yeah, it completely baffles me all the time. And there's something else that always baffles me on Cricbuzz Live is the joy factor question. Because I never have the answers to it. I don't answer.
Welcome to my world. Yeah.
Okay, this one is actually something, it's a format that I'm going to give you a hint, a format that you probably like as well, Test match cricket. What do Angelo Matthews, Steve Smith, Ben Duckett, Devon Conway and Harry Brook, they're the last cricketers to achieve what specific feat in international cricket? And I'll put feat in inverted commas. What did they do in international cricket? What have they all done? They're the last 5 to do this in international cricket.
They kick the ball up with their foot to catch it.
I know. No, it's not a literal pun. It's not a literal.
Right, okay.
I think we'll wait for this and get the answers to this in the because we just never have answers to Joyce's questions. But that's all we have time for today, and it's been a good fun debut for me. But I'll
Wait a minute. We need to give score.
Yeah, we want to see your score.
prediction game. Of
You,
course,
she was trying to get away. She was trying to run away. I caught her.
See, because on match party prediction game we used to get punished for, so I have a strange memory and I don't want to get punished again.
Go for it.
But you got to go first.
Oh, I got to go first. Ouch.
What bullies we are.
Yeah. first.
Okay, I think Firozshah Kotla, Delhi bowling first. I'm going to go with 100 and Gujarat bowling first. Yeah. I'm going to go with 184.
184.
194.
What? 204. Why not? I just talked up Prithvi Shaw.
Yeah, you did.
200.
204.
204. Okay, so we have 184, 194, 204. Let's see who wins the prediction game, and that's pretty much all the time we have right now. But we'll see you at the 10 over point at the Cricbuzz Combox.
Jaipur via Kota.
कृपया ध्यान आपको अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವವರೇ
Hyderabad Superfast Express পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন कृपया ध्यान दें